Hey everybody, welcome back. Great to have you here again. Today we're going to continue on with our geometry videos. Now there are a couple more. This is going to be the last geometry video for a few days. There were a couple more that I want to make that have to do with three-dimensional shapes, but I've got some special items coming to help kind of illustrate what those are. So we're going to hold off on those for a little bit. Right now though, we are going to talk a little bit about something that is very important with 3D shapes, and that is finding volume. That's something else that we're going to talk about later on as well, but right now, we just want to talk about what volume is. Okay? So volume is the amount of cubic units. Okay? We talked about units. That's just a general thing. That means it could be feet, could be inches, could be centimeters. You know, a unit is just something that we're measuring. Okay? And cubic units is, or are, I should say, a three-dimensional way of measuring things. Okay, so cubic means length, width, and height. Okay, length times width times height. So volume is the amount of cubic units, those things that an object can hold. And what I mean by cubic units, to help illustrate that, is one of these. This is a cubic unit. Ignore this little round piece on the end. This is a cubic unit. Okay, this little square, this little cube, has a square face, 6 square faces as a matter of fact, but it has length, width, and height to it. Okay, it's got 3 different dimensions. That's what we call those. Okay. So being able to understand what that is, okay, that this is a cubic unit right here. That's what we're talking about. This is a 3-dimensional shape. This is a 3-dimensional object, and this is what we use to measure volume. Okay? So if we're just talking 1 dimension, that would be a straight line. Okay, we talked a little bit about this when we talked about perimeter and area, but length is just a straight line. Okay? Length and width, when we were talking about area, we used squares. Okay? And that's not a very good square, but you get the idea. Okay, where we have a length and a width. Okay, 3D, this is not going to look very good, but we're going to give it a try. Okay, 3D, that's my best cube I can draw in the moment. We have a length, a width, and a height that we are using to measure. Okay, just like our cube right here, just like the Unifix cube. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about volume. Okay, how much a 3D, how much space is inside of this cube. Okay, if I were going to fill this thing up, if this, was an empty cube, how much space would it take to fill this up? That is what volume would be. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some examples down here. And we're going to use some of these cubes to help you illustrate what we're talking about. So for this entire video, we're going to use these little guys as our cubed units. Okay. This is a cubed unit. So this figure right over here, we've got a shape. Now I'm going to build a little bit here. So I'm going to talk as I build, and hopefully that's going to go well. So what we have is a shape right here. You see that we've got 4 across, 3 up, and we also have 3 deep now. And that 3 deep is the one change that we are making. Usually, when we were talking about area in past videos, we would have just a length and we can call that a width, I guess. Technically, it's our height in this shape. But we would have something like that. Okay. And I'm slowly building here as I'm talking. But you would see that. Okay. We would have our length and our width, but we would have no height if we were just talking a 2-dimensional object. Okay, we would have something like this. If you were just looking flat down at this, we would have a length and we would have a width. Okay, there would be no height to it. Just imagine this is a flat object. Now, we're going to have 3 rows of that, and that's what's going to set this one apart. That's what's going to make a difference here. So we're going to have a 4x3 connected to a 4x3 connected to a 4x3, which sounds very, very confusing, but it's not too bad. Just like other things in math, it's not quite as scary as it sounds. And it's taking me a little bit, but here, once again, now we have 2 rows of these. Okay, we've got 2 rows. I'm going to make one change to this one because we do have to keep them connected. It's very, very important that they are connected here. And my building skills are being put to good use here. So far, we have this. And again, ignore the little nubs that are poking out of this. And then we're going to make one more row, just like that. One more flat, just like that, I should say. And you know, this is the first time I have played with these cubes in ages. I kind of miss doing it. Alright, so it's very, very colorful, but this is what we have right here. That is the shape that they have for us in this figure right here. This is our 3-dimensional shape. Okay. So what we are trying to figure out is, number one, the top layer has how many cubic units? Well, the top layer would be this one right here. Okay, just this top level. So we can count them on there, or we can count them in our 3-dimensional object. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 little cubes. Okay. So it has 12 cubic units. Remember, each one of these little cubes is a cubic unit. Okay. The middle layer then, if we took off that top layer, which I'm going to do right here, you notice that also has 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cubic units. And then the bottom layer, we'll just imagine this is our bottom layer because it's the exact same thing. The bottom layer has, once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cubic units. So if we add those up together, very quickly in our heads, we end up with 36 cubes in our shape. And if we have 36 cubes in our shape right here, that means the volume is 36 cubic units. Okay, so this shape right here is exactly this. We just built it and we counted the cubes. There are 36 cubes in that shape. So there's 36 cubic units in that shape. Now, number 6 and 7. I'm not going to build these ones because this video would go on for a very, very long time if I did. But if you have these kind of cubes sitting around, if you have blocks, if you have whatever, you can build them to look just like this. But just imagine this top layer now, just like we had here. This top layer has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these cubes. And I think I will take some of these just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this top layer, imagine this top layer of cubes is that. I'm trying to make it match up the best I can here. Okay. And then we have how many rows of these? We have 1, 2, 3 rows. So if I've got 6 in the top, I've got 6 in the middle, and I've got 6 in the bottom. How many total cubes are going to be in that shape? There's going to be 18 cubes, so 18 cubic units. And another way to write that, because when we talked about area, we talked about units squared. Another way to write this would be 18 units. Because we added one more dimension, we put a little 3 up there instead of a 2. That's the only change. Area, we put 2. Volume, we put 3. Now this one here is a little bit different. Okay, this one we have stairs. But let's look at it from this way. Okay, so we have one layer right up here. Okay, we got layer, all the stuff with an X is one layer. And then behind that, we have another layer. But how many cubes here do we have that have an X? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So if one layer's got 6, that back layer would also have 6. So front's got 6, back's got 6. 6 plus 6 is how much? That is 12 cubic units. Okay? Or units cubed. Simple enough, right? It's not too bad. Now, we're not going to go through and do every single one of these, but I just kind of want to show you what we're talking about. So, let's go to number 2. I'll build that one for us again. We've got 2 by 2 by 2. 2 by 2 by 2. So I do that, and I build one of those for us. Because why not? I mean, these are just fun to play with. These are fun to play with and build with. All right. We're going to try it just like this. I don't know how it's going to look, if it's going to stick together. I hope it will. Yes, we are good. All right. So there is our cube right here. Okay, we've got 2 here, and then another flat in the back. So we've got, just like that, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes up front. But if I take that apart, take it apart like that instead, there's our back layer. Here's our front layer, there's our back layer. So we got 4 up front. We've got 4 in the back. 4 plus 4 is how much? Yeah, we have 8 cubes. Which is 8 units cubed. Not too bad, right? Now, another way that we can look at this, without even having to build using these things, as much fun as these are, without having to build them, you notice that it is 2 by 2 by 2. 2 long by 2 wide by 2 deep. What's 2 times 2? 4. What's 4 times 2? 8. We got the same number. So we could count each individual cube, or we could add up the total number in each layer, or we could just say, okay, how many cubes wide is it? How many cubes deep is it? How many cubes tall is it? Either way, we're going to get the same answer, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing right there. Okay. Now, I think the last one we're going to do is number 8 here. And then actually, for just a moment here, I'm going to give you a second. If you want to pause and take a look at these, you are welcome to do so. Now would be a good time to do those. Good practice problems for you. And then we're going to do the same thing down here if you want to pause and take a look at these. I just want to look at number 8 right here. I'm not going to build it because, again, we would be here far too long building it. But we've got 1, 2, 3 cubes wide by 1, 2, 3 cubes deep by 1, 2, 3 cubes high. Okay, so we're going to write that down. 3 by 3 by 3. Okay. So right off the bat, we know that 3 times 3, well, 3 groups of 3 is 9. And then we have 9 more groups of 3. Okay, 9 groups of 3 equals how much? 9 times 3 is 27. So right off the bat, before I even count any cubes or do any other kind of math with this thing, my guess is that we're going to have 27 cubes in here. We cannot see them all. Just like the other ones up there, some of them are hidden because we can't see everything in a 3D shape. We can't see everything at one time. Because imagine we're looking at this cube again right here from number 2. If I hold this cube like this, can you see every single cube? No. Can you see the cube that I'm pointing at back here? Nope. You got to turn it all the way over here to see that cube. If I add another layer out here and out here, there's going to be even more hidden blocks. You're going to have hidden cubes on the inside too that you can't see. unless you completely take apart that big cube, and that's not exactly going to work very well. But you notice we have 3 layers, okay? We got a layer up here with the x's in it, and there are 9 cubes in that layer. Right here, there's a second layer. We can't see them all, but that layer also has 9 cubes. And then we have this back layer, and that back layer has 9 cubes. Well, we have 9 plus 9, that's 18, plus another 9 is 27, or 3 times 9, just like we had here. Same thing, 27 units cubed, or cubed units. So, just like so many other things that we've talked about with all of these math problems, these different types of math, geometry, addition, subtraction, there are different ways that you can solve these problems. It all depends what you feel most comfortable doing. And that's the important thing. And that's the same thing in school. If you find something that works for you, do it. If you have a way that helps you solve problems more easily, and it helps you think about it easily, you can visualize it, you can see it in your mind better than other ways, do that. That's going to be the same thing in life. If you have a certain way of solving problems that works best for you, whether if it's something geometry related, maybe you're working with something with shapes in the future. Maybe it works better for you to go math-wise and use numbers. Maybe you prefer to just take this all apart and imagine each individual cube and count those. That's fine. Maybe you want to look at it like layers, like we just did here. That's fine as well. There's nothing wrong with that. It's whatever is going to work for you, whatever is going to help you understand the problem most easily, what's going to make most sense. Okay? So keep that in mind going forward. But again, if you want to work on these, you want to try to practice these, visualize them on your own, feel free to do so. But that is where we're going to wrap this one up for today. But just keep in mind, and we're going to go back here, the most important things to take away from this. Okay, number 1, you can do these problems in multiple different ways. But volume is the amount of these things inside of a shape. It doesn't just have to be cubes, doesn't just have to be, square-ish looking shapes like this. It could be any kind of 3D shape. That's how we measure how much stuff is inside with volume. Okay? Length, width, height, and there's going to be some more complicated ones later on, but that's what we're going to work on for now. 1 dimension is just length, which we use for perimeter or distance. 2 dimension, length and width, that's how we find area. And 3-dimensional, length, width, and height. All 3 of those things help us figure out what volume is. Okay? So keep that in mind. But that's where we're going to wrap this one up. As always, if you did enjoy this, if you found it helpful, do drop a like, drop a comment, let me know what you thought. And if you want to get some more of these videos in the future, feel free, hit that subscribe button. I would truly appreciate that. And then you'll be notified as well if you hit that bell icon of future videos that I upload. But one way or the other, thank you for watching. The next videos you're going to see that I'm going to upload are likely not going to be geometry, because I've got a couple days until my other items are going to get here for those videos. So we're probably going to start talking some graphing stuff in the next couple videos. But thank you for watching. I hope you will stop back and watch a little graphing, or at least stop back later on and check out the fresh new items that I have coming for the other geometry videos we're going to make. But until next time, have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this. And until next time, you take care.